The following is a presentation of Playfly Sports Properties.
Welcome, everybody, to This is Sparta. I'm your host, Jason Strayhorn, along with my co-host, Otis Wiley and Jehuu Jehuu Caulcrick. Sad day today. We're covering the loss that happened in Happy Valley over the weekend. Michigan State falls 35-16 to the Nittany Lions in what could have been the last game for this team. Guys, a gutsy performance in the first half just wasn't enough after a punt return fumble late in the third quarter. Just seemed like the wheels kind of came off.
Yeah, you're right, Jason. You know, you hit it on the head when you said it was a gutsy performance, because it definitely was a gutsy performance. Spartans went into Happy Valley. You know, they were down, they were bruised, they were battered, but they fought. They played through. You know, injuries, played through adversity. You got a guy like Keon Coleman who was out there injured and still going out there and playing, but it just wasn't enough to pull out the win, especially in the second half.
Yeah, and I think you said it too, Jehuu, is that we played complementary football, and then you start to see self-inflicting wounds where, it took us a while to get started, and then, we got started too late. But if you had started when the clock started, when the kickoff happened and we had that same momentum as we did when we were battling through and battling back, I think the game would have had a different ending because we did take that momentum back, and then when we got that 3 and out, and then punted to Jay Reed, which is very uncommon for him to tote that rock and kind of loosely as he did. And you think about it, he had another fumble, well, luckily, fumbled out of bounds, but this one was very detrimental to kind of our comeback. You could at least got to 3 point down the stretch, but unfortunate that we had to end that way because we did put together a nice comeback, and then finally the Nittany Lions sealed the deal.
Before we get into the discussion and break down this performance a little more, we want to talk about the news that came out of the Big Ten this week. We have 8 players that were suspended initially. 1 player was brought back after they were not charged last week. But this is the statement, guys, from the Big Ten that was released just today prior to this show being aired. And here are the actual disciplinary actions that were taken by the Big Ten. For the University of Michigan, in accordance with protocol outlined in the Big Ten Conference Football Game Management Manual Policy, a public reprimand has been issued to the University of Michigan. The conference has concluded that the University of Michigan did not meet the standards of the Big Ten Conference Football Game Management Manual Policy. The policy requires a conference member institution game host to provide adequate protection for personnel of both home and visiting teams when entering and leaving playing arenas. Now, let's get into that right there for a second, if you will, guys, because I know when this happened, we talked about it at length on our show, and Otis, this is something that you really spoke to a lot and said that it's the operations that failed those players on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and I was every time we talk about this, and you guys know I've been wanting to turn the page on this, and it keeps being brought up every week, and it's strategically dropped on times and days that we are taking the steps and strides to not say remove it or get over it, but we continued and what we were trying to do as a program, and then it's dropped like this. And so that should have been the immediate response. Like, I don't know why it took this long to go through the investigation just to realize, like, oh, it's the operations. That should have been the immediate response, in my opinion, of the conference when this has been happening to teams that travel to the Big House multiple weeks this season. So yes, obviously kudos to the Big Ten of finally coming to the table and stepping up and saying, okay, it's not just a one side track of the guilty as party as us. It's both parties involved. And so Public reprimand, I feel like it should be more, but it is what it is.
But yeah, Otis, you said it. We talked about it ad nauseum, like you said, and we said the violence, the helmet hitting, and all that stuff. That was, that has no place in the game. We said that, but we also stated the fact that you just said is the operation side of things. And when we said that, we got absolutely killed by comments and stuff on social media and everything, saying that we were victim blaming and everything like that. All we were doing was just stating what we felt.
Obvious.
Yes, obvious. You're right. Yeah, I mean, there's a comment, per your comment there, Jehuu, that Adam, obviously, is probably a Michigan fan. We don't know who Adam is, but
we don't know who's from Adam.
Here? I don't know Adam. No Sparty Slappy wants to hold those players accountable. Nothing but excuses when you're on the losing end. That's the culture, and it's pathetic. Might as well say, well, she had a skirt on and she was drunk, so ... I mean, whatever he's trying to imply there, and he got 3 likes for that statement, it's utterly ridiculous to say things like that. I mean, what we're doing is merely stating the facts that there was a player who, broke protocol and skipped into the middle of the visiting team's, procession off of the field. We don't know what happened before the fight, but there was something. It wasn't nothing, but we do know that he did go where he wasn't supposed to be at that time, per the Big Ten's reprimand. I know it's not a lot. It's not what the Spartan Nation may want. I mean, you're not going to get much more than that. That's huge. Because when's the last time you heard University of Michigan being reprimanded for anything? I don't know if they were reprimanded for the fight that happened with the basketball coach. I don't think that happened then, guys. You correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think this is something that happens on the normal course of business when you talk about the Big Ten Conference coming out with a public reprimand. As you said, Jehuu, they had issues with Penn State. They had issues with us at Michigan State. They also had issues just a week ago with Illinois. And there's something going on that we talked about, the common denominator being them. So there you go. Once again, now we've been justified in this, finally, that things have to change operationally, as Otis has been talking about, and we have said ad nauseum at the University of Michigan when people come to that arena to play and move on. But getting into the next part of the Big Ten punishment or the reprimand, and we can bring that part up. And you have the 4-game disciplinary action here. This is for the players. So the one player, this is Kari Crump, cornerback, number 14. They're saying the 4 games from the incident date plus the first 8 games of the 2023 season. That's pretty big for Kari Crump. Now, the other athletes, is you have Octavian Tank Brown, Angela Groves, Justin White, Jacoby Windman, Brandon Wright, and Zion Young. Those gentlemen will have 4 games that from the incident date, which means that they have completed their suspension. So they're eligible to play if there was a bowl game or whatever at the present time. Also, they have Malcolm Jones, who had a self-imposed suspension. He was actually reinstated last week because he was the lone player not charged in this. He was reinstated by Michigan State a week ago. The Big Ten agrees with that. Then they also responded to the sufficiently addressed by Michigan State University, the football staff member. We don't really have a lot of details on that, but we're talking about before. Yeah, when we talked about Juwan Howard, there was no public reprimand for Juwan Howard.
Besides the 2-game suspension, right? Like I know he was suspended. Yeah. And the 2 players.
And the University or the Big Ten?
It was the Big Ten, I believe. Yeah. I mean, also, not kudos, but I believe Ward Manuel, athletic director, had that same energy as he had when our deal happened, when saying that this does not represent, the University of Michigan. I remember, that clearly of, he kept the same energy of like, this isn't what we are about. And so, but to your point, like, let's just suspend these guys and then let them come back. And then you get to that level of severity when, the energy is we need to fully charge them with the maximum. It's just like, I mean, look, man, like in the heat of the moment, if you are meeting your enemy who you have been trained to not hate or fully hate in this rivalry, what do you expect, with this, man, where you gave your heart out, you got beat, and you don't want to condone this violence, because we had four quarters to impose our will and beat down the team down the road, and then you take this matters into your own hands in a tunnel where maybe they didn't think there would be cameras and they felt like they would get away with this. But you guys know me, man. I'm ready to move on from this because it has been a bad light on us, where this does not reflect who we are. This is not our culture. And when people are saying that on social and comments, it's far from that. And that's why we don't put any energy behind those, ill will comments, because we know what it is, right? As a former players, and we know our coach, we know our athletic director, we know who we are about. And we will be better for this as we've responded as we should. And, we'll look back on this and, they'll learn from it. That's all we can ask.
And here's a joint statement from Michigan State University Vice President and Director of Athletics, Alan Haller, and Michigan State head football coach, Mel Tucker. And they both say, we accept the findings from the Big Ten Conference and are ready to move forward as a football program. We are committed to supporting our student athletes and will continue to do so throughout this process. Octavian Brown, Angelo Gross, Justin White, Jacoby Windman, Brandon Wright, and Zion Young will immediately be reinstated to the program. Signed, Alan Haller and Mel Tucker. So the good news is, guys, I mean, those two gentlemen are on the same page. Michigan State has now put this behind them with the Big Ten coming out. I think that's a phenomenal job by the Big Ten. Kevin Warren, the commissioner of the Big Ten, providing context to this as the governing body of Big Ten football, coming out and making a public statement. Now Michigan State has been able to do this and put this behind them. We don't know if we'll hear anything from the other side, from Michigan, as they prepare for the Big Ten championship game that's coming up in Indianapolis. But definitely you want to look at the job. Like, I think that gets lost in all this, the job that Mel Tucker was able to do throughout this process, guys. It's a phenomenal job. People are going to critique him. They get mad about, this is a lot of money that he's been paid. And, the losses were heavy this year compared to last year. But these are the kind of waters that you pay head coaches to navigate through. This isn't things that you could have predicted going into this season, but being able to take the criticism, being able to pull the team together in the midst of injuries, 4 straight losses, and try to right the ship throughout all of this. This is why these gentlemen at this level get paid what they get paid. It's not an easy job by any stretch of the imagination. So we'll go into this more in depth as we get into the recruiting season and the upcoming portal bonanza that's about to happen in a couple of days. But just pay attention right here, if you will, at what goes on when you're talking about a head coach at an institution like Michigan State University and why these guys get paid what they get paid. Now, also, just a reminder, follow us on our socials. Click on the link in the bio anywhere: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, even TikTok. Go to that link tree and you can find us where we can get tickets in hand. I know it's hot now for the basketball season. Everybody wants to be inside and stay out of that cold weather and get in that Breslin. Follow us and we'll get those tickets to you. And now let's get into our game day breakdown summary brought to you by IHOP.
'Twas a wintry day, and at IHOP quite soon, hot cinnamon apples would be coaxed with a spoon on the fluffiest French toast with red currants on top. We wish you a happy holiday, only at IHOP. New Ginger Snap Apple French Toast, part of our new holiday menu. Try all 3 flavors.
Breaking down the game in Happy Valley, Michigan State started off, like we talked about, with a gritty performance, down 14-3 or 14-0 before the half. The special teams comes out and has a bright light finally in the kicking game. 51 yards. Look at that. That would have been good from about 57, 58. Jack Stone. We can say his name, Choo-Choo.
I'm not saying his name. I'm not saying his name.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you do it, as soon as you say his name, man, it's gonna be like
as my grandpappy say, same thing make you laugh will make you cry. All right. All year long, we needed good kicking. That did not come into play. And then Saturday night, he wants to go out there and boot a 52-yarder with room to spare. You know, that could have been good from 55 yards. But now you want me to hoist him on his shoulder and on my shoulders and sing for he's a jolly good fellow because he did his job?
Jehuu, it's not the same guy, man.
He was the guy at the beginning of he was the guy at the beginning of the year. He lost his job to the other guy, 98.
So
you're
saying
you mad at me because I'm not saying
how
the
am I
man's
mad at
name.
you?
You mad at me because I'm not praising him.
I didn't say
praising him.
It's like me getting excited if you get a pass breakup. You're supposed to get a pass breakup.
Say it with your chest, huh? Okay.
Man, oh man. Hey.
All right, look. I wish I could go back when Choo-Choo was fumbling or something. Like I would have been like,
yeah. I had one job to do. Hold on to the ball. I didn't do it.
Listen, I was watching it from the angle up top, and I could not see the ball go into the uprights. I legit had to wait for the rest to come out because I was already assuming that we was going to botch it. And then you're looking at like it was just like everything's quiet, and all of a sudden they would walk out, look at each other like they almost thought like, "Is this for real?"
Right.
And boom, he puts the hands up, and one, I feel like what has the kicking group done this entire season to be so up and down? And it's to the point of like, I mentioned this to Jehuu, was like, man, you realize that you thought like when Coach Foligno was coaching and, he was obviously timing the snap, timing the kick, what's the flight, what's the art, whatever you call it. I'm not even a specialist kicker, but
hang time.
Hang time. There you go. Hang time. You realize like those details truly matter. And I'm assuming that they're doing that, but you got to figure out like, okay, we cannot repeat what was done this season in preparation for next season, because these guys, I even thought about like, what is an exercise in the weight room to get that one leg prepared? Just one leg. Like I want these guys wobbling when they walk, because it's like that one leg needs to be as strong as possible to boot that ball as far as it can. But kudos to him, because it would have been an uphill battle knowing that we were giving the ball back to Penn State on the second half. But to end on that long kick, it was almost like a redemption for, a golfer whose swing has just been left and right spraying. I mean, you need some type of positive to end with. And, I agree with Jehuu. Like, yeah, he did the job. He's supposed to do that. Like, that's what you do. That's what you're brought to the team to do. But, I mean, that was the best kick that we've seen all season, from the delivery to the timing to the how far it went. Like, that was the best. Snap, everything included. That was the best promo of this what's to happen every time we line up to kick a field goal or a PAT.
Right. That guy was brought in as a highly touted guy, if I'm not wrong here. And that's what he should be. That's what he should be doing. And he went out there and he executed and did his part in the game. But I'm not going to sit here and praise the man and sing rah rah shish kumbab for him. He did what he was supposed to do. It was a well timed and well executed play. And okay, let's move on to the game now. We gave them their spotlight.
Jay, by the way, it wasn't 98 that screwed up the kick. It was 93. I know you don't want to say their names. 98 did come in and do extra points. So just for those guys listening, their parents do care about this kind of stuff. Just want to make sure we're giving credit where credit should be. By the way, Hugh Freeze is going to Auburn, by the way.
Breaking news.
Hugh Freeze to Auburn.
I feel like that is another topic for conversation. Where
right? Why didn't Cadillac Williams get a look? Why didn't Cadillac Williams get a look? He played there. He embodied all that stuff. But you're right, Otis. That's a topic.
We're gonna have a whole show on that. We're gonna have several shows.
Going
deep into the coaching carousel, the recruiting, and that transfer portal. But let's finish breaking down this game here. That was Happy Valley, the Happy Valley nightmare. 14-3, Michigan State is driving now. Now, defensively, Michigan State comes up with a big stop.
Look at the pressure. Look at the pressure.
Okay.
Like we talk about like collapsing the pocket, where you make the quarterback have to step up. He can't run side to side outside the tackle box. Like Coach Hazelton drew up some pressures that you wish you could see consistently throughout the season, but like these guys were battling. Like they were battling. Didn't worry about what the rankings were and who they had. And you got a 6-year quarterback who you would think would be better at stepping up in the pocket and throwing away. But this also is a coverage sack, man. Like look at the secondary, which you only could see a glimpse of, but everyone has their guy hip to pocket. Like everything is covered. So that's how it should be. A great photo optic picture of what this pressure should look like. And kudos to the defense, man. Like they did this multiple times in the game of putting pressure on Clifford and getting him down quickly. So
I think you misspoke. You said 6-year quarterback. I think 16. 16 is more appropriate.
Oh, yeah. We know it's 6th year, but oh man.
And you're right. He had a cover sack. He held on to that rock and he got sacked, which forces Penn State to punt the ball, and the special teams woes continue for Michigan State.
People were watching that game. Once we get punched, like Jaden Reed looked extremely fast. If it was me, Jehuu was on the sideline, but like when he caught that ball, man, like he was making the moves and getting upfield to the sideline and at least getting us a positive 10 to 15 yards, which is what you want, and getting the offense back onto the field. I just wish we got better blocking for him, because we all know number one is electric, and you need to set up a wall somewhere that's solid for this man to make moves, to get upfield and get to the end zone. It's unfortunate we didn't get any touchdowns from number one on the punt return as we did last year. Now, we did have 2 this season that got called back because of, some bogus sidearm swipe, blocks. But it's unfortunate that we couldn't see that man really go into action like as he should, which that guy is going to be a great guy at the next level.
Yeah, he definitely is going to be a great guy at the next level. But I felt in this game he was pressing a little bit. I think he tried to take on too much. And he wasn't himself. He tried to do too much with it. He had those 2 fumbles, and you will notice the last one, and I always harp on this, and he should know better as an offensive player, a ball carrier. You always want that ball in your left hand, in your outside arm. You always want that. And then we're going to look at this clip here. This fumble here, you're taught as an offensive player, if a pass is like that, you don't leave it in the hands of the officials. You want to fall on that ball. And, if it's an incomplete pass, great. If it's a fumble, that's the best case scenario. You fall on and you lose some yards. This here was clearly behind the ball was thrown behind the line, and good hustle, good, by Penn State on that. And we didn't show that hustle on offensively.
Question for you, Jehuu.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but we were positively moving the ball without having to run a bubble screen on this drive. This is our first drive. Like we had momentum of running it up the field versus doing these bubbles. And do you think that this call shouldn't have been called, in my opinion? Like we could have easily just kept running the ball, toting it, or passing it down the field versus number one is, to my opinion, is more dangerous running downfield. Yes, you want to get him out of space, but give him a jet sweep. Give him the ball immediately. Let him make something else versus, trying to trust this bubble screen that truly turned into a turnover.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I disagree with what you're saying. We were moving the ball.
I like how you put that so nicely.
Oh
Agree to disagree. I agree with you saying, but I disagree.
Yeah, we were moving the ball, with the run game. But you want to put the ball in your playmakers' hands, and you find different creative ways to do that. I don't think there was anything wrong with the play call here. I just think the lack of the lack of effort of falling on the football. That's my only issue with this play call, and it's the execution part of it. But there's nothing wrong with this. Is running like a toss sweep, so to speak. But you're putting your ball in your receiver's hands.
Give him the sweep, then. Give him the ball.
I don't have an issue with this play call. I do not have an issue with this play call. If he catches that, he's boogieing. You had Coleman that was blocking downfield. He's gone. If he catches that football, he's gone.
To your point, Jehuu, earlier you said something about number one was pressing a little bit.
Yeah.
Earlier in this game, he was actually on the punt team and made a tackle.
Yeah, he ran down on the punt team. He was a gunner on that and went down and he made a tackle. Yeah, because, like I said, he wanted to put this team on his back. And Spartan Nation, they need to give that man his flowers. That guy sacrificed, everything that he had for this team this year. And this season did not go how it was supposed to go. He could have left last year. He made the announcement on Sunday that he's going to be entering the draft. And kudos to that man. He has the opportunity. He's talented enough that he can play multiple positions at the next level, and he's going to get that opportunity to do so. He was out there showcasing that he can run down the field and make a tackle. He can catch a punt, and that's why I said he was pressing a little too much. I think that was trying to be a lot of an audition tape for the next level.
Do you think this is a question for the group here? If we would have bowl eligible in that win against Indiana, do you think he would have did a K9 and said, I opt out, I don't need to play in this bowl game? I feel like that would have been also warranted in the case for himself to be ready for the pros. But do you think even if we were bowl eligible, he would have opted out anyway?
I think he would have opted out. I definitely think he would have opted out just so he would have been signed with an agent. He would have been somewhere in San Diego, Florida, training somewhere for the next level. I think he definitely would have opted out of the bowl game. But we have some great receivers here that's going to take over. We have Mosley, we have Coleman. We have some upcoming guys. So I think we're going to be fine at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. It's more commonplace now if you think about it. Always when you talk about players opting out of the bowl game, unless it's for a championship, Big Ten championship, Rose Bowls, or national titles in the college football playoffs. Players are just choosing to go on to the next level. And how can you blame them? I mean, this is their family legacy that they're trying to build up by taking this dream opportunity to play at the next level. I know that the fan bases across the country would rather than play one more game, but we're really upset. We're all that mad at K9 for not playing in the Peach Bowl. I mean,
no one's mad. I don't mean no one's mad about that.
No,
I do believe that one has already put a great highlight tape together from his years with us anyway. So, regardless of what he did for this season or at the end of the season, he already put together a prolific career that puts him at the top of the line of receivers in this class. And so I appreciate what he did for Spartan Nation. He embraced us. We embraced him. And he did what he could to put us on the map or to keep us on the map. And, I mean, I'm going to look forward to seeing that guy on Sundays, and I hope that he is a Lions fan, not a Bills. Or
So let me while we're giving appreciation to number one, Jaden Reed, let me go through some of his stuff, where he is in the MSU record books. He's going to be 12th in receiving yards, in MSU history. He's going to be 6th in receptions with 147. He's tied for 7th in receiving TDs at 18. He's 5th in receptions per game. with 4.7 yards. He's 20th all-time in all-purpose yards. That's receiving, punt returns, rushes, everything like that. And he's tied for first in punt returns for TDs at 2. So that's a hell of a, as, a former player, I'm sure you guys feel the same way. All we can do is say, thank you, brother. Thank you. You're a Spartan dog, and your legacy will continue to live on.
Without question. I mean, he reminds me a whole lot of a guy I played with by the name of Derek Mason, who played a long time in the NFL, great punt returner at Michigan State. I think still has records in the Big Ten for punt returns, kickoff returns. Derek went on to play with the Ravens and the Tennessee Titans, playing a lot with Aaron McNair down there in Tennessee. Just a great guy, a great player. Reminds me a lot of what Jayden Reed does. It's kind of a mix between him and a little bit of Antonio Brown. Got a little AB in him too. Little smaller guy, great route running, strong hands. So but everything below the neck is AB, right? I don't want to say, hey, AB, hey, we love it, AB. But some of the behavior, we like that, but we don't like some of the behavior you're doing out there, AB. But that's an old Chippewa too. But like hats off to Jayden Reed and what he was able to accomplish transferring in. There's a transfer success story, another one, from Western Michigan to Michigan State, and has
mind you, before you can immediately play. So he had to sit out, be on scout team, earn some stripes, balling out against the ones on defense because scout, and then he turns out and balls out. Like, he had to do the track that, all of us, if we were to transfer in the past, had to go through, would have to go through. So kudos to him of accepting that grind, accepting that journey. And then he's prolific, man. I agree with JU, agree with you, Stray, that this guy is he's a class act, and he's epitome of what a Spartan dog is. And so all I ask is that he comes back and pays it forward. But he's going, young man rumble. He's about to rumble up there on the next level.
Oh man. I mean, you brought up a great point. I didn't realize that he came over in the old era before the real transfer portal. He's an old head in that locker room.
Old head for sure.
Man. Yeah. Oh, you had to sit out back then, dog? Total different world now.
Yeah, with it like that now, now that you can transfer and go right away now, Spartan Nation, you better start showing love to these guys that are still on the roster right now. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I know we're going to talk about this later, but if I'm Spartan Nation, I'm reaching out to a kid like Keon Coleman, say, hey, we need you next year.
Please, baby, please, baby, please don't leave. I said it for you. Please.
Anybody owns businesses, restaurants, car dealerships, whatever it is out there, you call number zero.
You reach out to Keon. And also, too, if I'm MSU coaching staff, I'm sitting Keon Coleman down and saying, hey, brother, we look at you, we love you, we're going to build around you.
We look at you.
Yeah, I am telling you, that kid, just from being on the sidelines calling games this year and looking at him walking down, that kid's a specimen. He is muscle on top of muscle on top of muscle. He's talented. He's fast. He's a smart kid. He's a kid that, he's going to play a long, long time at the next level. All right. He needs that breakout season next year. And I think he can do that at Michigan State, but they have to commit to him. They have to commit to say, hey, we're going to run this thing around you. We got guys like Trey Mosley's going to be Trey Mosley. Trey Mosley's going to be, from the beginning, I was a Trey Mosley fan. Trey Mosley's going to get his shine too, because what's going to happen, like it's started at the end of the year, they're going to start bracket coverage on Coleman, and Mosley's going to be getting some of that. But I'm telling you, Spartan Nation, send him tweets. Hey, you're a Spartan dog. Send him, flower baskets. Send him everything. If hey, send him everything that the other schools down wherever they are that are going to try to send him to pull him away. Because I'm telling you, Spartan Nation, we have him at the most for one more year.
I mean, that's just the way it is. We got him
Right.
for one more year, guaranteed. And we want to make sure that he does that one more year in the NCAA wearing the green and white.
Yep.
That's the thing that you have to.
If I'm Herm at Rick's,
You have to do it.
if I'm Herm at Rick's, here's your lifelong pass.
The Ricks again.
If
the graduate.
If the kids go to Harper's, if I'm the Graduate Hotel, if I'm the Kellogg Center, your mom and them stay for free every home game. I'm doing everything I can. I'm doing everything I can.
Whatever it is within the rules. Let's put that caveat.
It's NIL.
Whatever it is within the rules, they got to do it.
It's NIL.
You got to do it, baby.
Yeah.
Right. I'm on your team. And we need him on ours. You got to keep him. Because it's about to be ugly out there. You see Cade McNamara just hit the portal and all those types of things. I mean, from Michigan, right? The Michigan quarterback that got to the playoffs.
You say Cade McNamara of all players, yo. Like, we knew that was happening from day one. Like,
just wait. The whole Texas A&M team, Cincinnati, that whole team's in the portal because Fickle just left to go to Wisconsin. Hey, you're going to have players that you might, I don't know, man.
Hey,
this going to be guys that are seemingly happy where they are leaving.
Speaking of Wisconsin, I'm going to throw this out there. And I'm playing devil's advocate here. I said this to Otis earlier. I said it to Stray earlier. Fickle's going into Wisconsin, and most likely he's going to be taking Coach Tressel with him. All right, as his defensive coordinator,
or not,
or not. But all I'm saying is, do you say, "Hey, Jim Leonard"?
You told us both. Jim Leonard.
Jim Leonard. I played against Leonard. I was a teammate with Leonard. Huh?
Does who say that?
Hey, if you're wearing green and white out there, do you say, I'm just asking. I'm just asking for a friend.
He is your friend. So you're trying to recruit Jim Leonard to come to Michigan State.
I played against Jim Leonard. I was teammates with him in Buff. I understand his
Will he accept a position coach like linebackers, or he needs the D coordinator job? That's the true question. Because I believe Scotty Hazelton is a great defensive coordinator. I think that we need to bring someone in to alleviate him on the linebackers position. That's my opinion, but I'm not.
I did not sit up here and say, I just said I would want him on my staff. That's what I'm saying. I would want a mind like Jim Leonard on my staff. That's what I'm saying.
Well, you heard there.
Cultural fit too. There's a lot that goes into that, and there may be some staff changes coming. We don't know. What I do know that it will not be a quick, abrupt decision. It's going to be methodical, whatever it is, and they're going to look at all the possibilities that are out there. Duly noted, Jim Leonard, Wisconsin interim head coach, now
free agent,
probably looking for a job.
Wait, you don't think Fickle going to keep him?
I don't think Fickle will keep. The only way Fickle keeps him is unless the AD at Nebraska at Wisconsin say he has to be on our staff. I don't think Fickle's keeping him. I think Fickle's taking Tressel with him.
Yeah, that's Tressel. That's Jim Tressel's nephew. He's staying down. I can't. That would be.
Or do you say since you're gonna give him the opportunity to be a head coach?
He's I think the interim right now. They already lifted someone else. They already named the interim head coach, so he's not the interim there now.
Well, we also got our guy over there in Matt Rule, Nebraska. They got back-to-back press conferences that Big Ten is putting out there right now, and so the Big Ten is it's got some hefty beast in the head coach game, man, and it's becoming a great conference as it always was, but it's a premier lineup in the head coaches in the Big Ten now, man. So it's going to be interesting seeing how Nebraska, if they can finally turn the page and get to a prominence that they used to be back when they were in the Big 12. But it's crazy, man. It's like this is bigger than the NFL in my opinion. After season's done and free agency's hitting and all that, like this is a lot of different puzzle chess moves that we got to see happening in the next 3 weeks, man. It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be crazy.
Got to get into the whole salary situation with Rule. He's getting paid what 35, 40 million from Carolina Panthers.
Stealing.
So
it ain't
doing inquiry to Nebraska to make sure Nebraska's paying him market rate because we don't
terrible
know
hire by Nebraska. Terrible hire.
Oh man, yeah, the Nebraska faithful are not happy. I can tell you that.
I haven't read that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not. What has he done?
Right. But who else was out there?
Students in Auburn aren't happy either. They planning a protest down in Auburn.
As they should. We can talk about that's on Wednesday. We're gonna talk about it on Wednesday because
we're just getting started. I can't wait for the next show. If you remember a year ago,
I'm sorry,
we
Thursday.
just assigned Mel to the extension on Thursday. Right before this game, if you can remember. That extension got signed on the eve of Thanksgiving a year ago because if you wait till Sunday after the game, them private jets are flying everywhere, having those secret meetings, as Jehuu calls them. Them secret meetings.
My sources say.
His sources.
You're going to be checking the manifest on that every airport coming up here.
The tail numbers. Hey, man, look. So, Keon, speaking of him, 8 catches, 81 yards against the Nittany Lions. He was pretty much unstoppable. If anybody was unstoppable on Saturday, making terrific grabs. I know we have some highlights of him and what he was doing.
I mean, you see that he added, let's do these deep drag routes that he was catching consistently, right? Like he was getting loose. He had some huge first down saves, third down longs, some huge first down grabs for us.
And what people don't know is he was playing hurt that game. And he kept going in there, coming back, wincing in pain. He was playing hurt. He was wrapped up from the waist down with extra wraps and bandages and everything like that. That guy is a Spartan dog through and through. He's a hell of a player. He's going to be a hell of a player. He's a physical specimen. So kudos to that guy.
Jehuu, you were down there on the field. Now, did he come into the game hurt? Or did he tweak himself early in the game? I thought I saw him tweak himself.
He tweaked himself early in the game. He had a tweak early in the game, and that's what he went in the locker room before the half, came back out, went out there, played a few plays, came back down, slammed his helmet down on the bench in pain, but kept going back out there. And I noticed after the half when they came back up, that's when he was fully wrapped up and stretching on the sidelines extra.
How many receivers to do that, Otis? You played against a lot of them.
Very few, man. Very few. Especially with being like we already are in jeopardy of like we need to win this game to get bowl eligible, but like we all forgetting that this man is a 2-sport athlete too, and so you think about the future of will he focus on getting healed or will he go over and cross over and join the basketball team who is rolling right now. But that shows that this team is bigger than him. And he's like selfless guy. Like he shows his selfless attitude and being able to produce when you're hurt, man, is another level of perseverance and a different mindset that, regardless of what I have on my body, if it's broke on all 3 places, I got one strong part of my body that I'm gonna go out there and give my all. And so that's a kudos to Coach Tucker. And the culture that we have is that it's go out there and be having that warrior mindset, that Spartan dog mindset. And he's already won, the fans over, because, when Jehuu mentioned earlier that, he needs that breakout season. I'm like, this is a breakout season. Like this dude has showed us, he put us on his shoulders a couple games where they were double covering number 1 in Jay Reed, and he put the team on his back and almost single-handedly beat Michigan's whole secondary, right? And so, there's been guys I know will tap out and be in sweats by that time, especially it's cold. And he's still out there giving it all he's got because he's trying to get to that next game in the postseason.
Yeah, and we got to also keep in mind too. We got a bunch of young guys that stepped up this year.
Foster, I was about to mention Foster. We got some.
Yeah. You know, we got a bunch of young guys that stepped up to the plate this year, especially once those suspensions came down and then injuries happened. These guys are stepping up. These guys, there's fighters on this team, and like something you cannot take away from these guys from looking at them, from talking to them. These guys want to have success. They never phoned it in for any game. I know that the end result wasn't what we wanted as fans, but those guys put it all out there. And that's why every time I get disappointed with fans showing up to the game and supporting these guys are playing hurt. These guys are playing, sick or whatever it is. They're putting everything out there. And I'm excited for the young guys that we have coming up because they're going to show out.
Yeah, speaking of young guys, Dylan Tatum, true freshman, played out of position, started at cornerback because Ronald Williams and Charles Brantley both were unavailable to play in Happy Valley against Penn State. So he moves from the safety position as a true freshman and goes to the corner position. And speak to that a little bit, Otis. I know you are a secondary player yourself. How difficult is that, especially being such a young guy?
Players play, brother. You already know it.
Done and dusted. Say less.
Say less. First of all, he got that 21 on him too. What Jay, you talk about 21, real flex. 21. What'd you do? Something for me. Look, my man's was out there confident, right? Like he's no matter what, that knew he got scored on by a tight end, but it was a great catch. But he was in position. But he was like, that's a mentality as a true freshman that I don't care where you put me at, coach. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to help this team win the game. And he stepped up. And obviously you saw, without having our boy Spartan dog, Chuck Brantley, you saw the missing factor because that guy is a beast in itself. But it showed some promise on that secondary piece that, hey, this dude is versatile. It takes a beast, or it takes a great athlete to do both corner and safety. And for him to go out there and use that sideline as his friend and lock down and do his best that he could was a huge feat, man. That, I would kudos to 21 from another 21 guy like that. He wore that number proud, and he's going to be doing that for a while. And it shows promise because, we got a guy who's leaving a legacy with, Xavier Henderson, number 3. And so, we're losing 2 safeties in the back end, seniors, graduating. And so who are we going to have to step up? And, you got 21 over there, man. So, and then you got Amir Speed leaving. So you got Chuck that's coming back. We just got to get Chuck healthy and put a little bit of weight on him. And he knows that. I think everybody knows that he needs to put on some weight because he's the lightest on the field, but he is a lion at heart. So it does take a difficult, transition to go out there and play corner, especially against a top offensive team in Penn State. And he held his own, and kudos to him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and talk about the athletic ability for him, Jehuu. He was a running back in high school.
West Bloomfield's finest, baby.
With that dude, Donovan Edwards, who we saw what he did to Ohio State this past week. We don't talk too much about them guys.
But that just goes to show. Goes to show that running backs are athletes. They can play both sides, that's all it shows.
I
wish we could go back to get some practice.
So Choo-Choo's in the same category as Dylan Tatum and Donovan Edwards, right? Same category.
Yeah. But let me tell you someone to keep an eye out for. Spencer Brown, O-lineman. I think that kid's going to be special.
You got to keep an eye out for him.
I need you to be
Walled Lake Western's finest.
Well, it's a think and a know. Like, we need to know. We're out of the thinking phase. Do you know?
Yeah, he's going to be something. We cannot forget one of the other stars of the sophomore class. We talk about guys that may only be here 3 years, 4 at the most. We got to make sure we wrap our arms around them. That's number 27, Cal Halliday. Don't forget Cal. I know that everybody he just kind of looks like old farmer boy. But let me tell you something about them old farmer boy. His daddy went to Penn State, was an All-American wrestler at Penn State. He's from Pennsylvania. He was just out there I mean, the guy has 3,000 tackles on the season. He's a tackling machine. He picks the ball off. Tell Spartan Nation what to do for Cal Haladay.
Cal Haladay, no gloves wearing Cal Haladay, man. Look, ain't not afraid to get his hands dirty. He does it all, man. And, I think Cal Haladay is one, he's built different. He comes from a lineage of, I feel like, great men. And I feel like as guys, as you see how he plays, he's selfless. He's not a guy that will wow you with public facing, talking marketing type deal. He just gets the job done. See ball, eat ball. Like that is that man's mentality, right? And look, I feel like I'm taking a used persona. I'm out here dropping knowledge.
I think you're great. I think Cal Haladay, he makes a hell of a drinking game. Every time the announcers say Cal Haladay plays without gloves or tape, you take a drink. I'm looking forward to that for another year.
Yeah, and straight.
That's a drinking game for Spartan Nation. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Listen, we talked about this.
When the announcers bring up he doesn't play with gloves, you take a shot.
Yep.
Look, Stray got real passionate this past weekend when we were talking about the transfer portal and like loyalty. Now, I honestly believe that Kyle Haladay is a loyal guy. He's loyal
He's not
guy.
Going anywhere. He's not going anywhere.
Like he's not the guy that's like the glitz and glam. Like he is a guy that is just as long as you keep me in that middle, coach.
Okay, so what you're telling me is that none of these kids' parents have bills. None of these kids think about Lamborghinis. None of these kids have girlfriends. None of these kids are influenced at all by social media. None of them.
We're talking about Cal Haladay.
We're talking about Cal Haladay.
We talk.
Even Haladay has that.
No,
all those things.
Cal ain't going nowhere.
And I need you to have some more integrity now here, Stray.
Ain't going nowhere though. Look, this is one thing that Mel Tucker said. We have to recruit our players every day, and if we don't, somebody else is. That's something that everybody needs to take a part of that. I'm not just saying the coaching staff, not just linebacker coach. It's everybody at home. Everybody that has a Twitter, everybody that has a Facebook. Show the man some love that he wanted here. Everybody who has the ability to do the NIL deals, show the man that you want him. Because I'm telling you, these other fan bases, they're getting together in these collectives or whatever they are, these little groups, the little micro collectives, and they're going out and they're trying to get players. They're poaching guys from other teams. Just don't let it happen to us here. That's what we got to do. Now, everybody thinks about the portal as far as what Mel Tucker's going to do to bring them in, but we got to do everything we can to keep the guys that we got here. That's all I'm saying. And until December 5th, when it all rolls out and you start seeing stuff, I'll remain silent.
Hey, look, Jehuu, choo-choo.
Not a believer. Jehuu doesn't believe this is going to happen.
Choo-choo.
He doesn't believe fat meat is crazy.
If the transfer portal was happening back in 97, Stray would have been on 6 different teams.
Right.
No.
Out.
No. I'm a center. Who's doing that?
Exactly. Kyle Haladay is the center of our defense. He is not leaving, yo.
Okay.
All the other guys, no. That man is the foundation, and he can have it all here already.
Have we brought any linebackers in here over the last 2 years?
We got Malik Spencer. He's an outside linebacker. What are you talking about? And we got another guy coming in from IMG.
Malik Spencer.
We got Jordan.
I think we have
coming in, right? Jordan Hall coming in.
Here, Aaron Brule.
We got Jordan Hall coming in.
What's the kid from Tennessee last year that left? He was another one.
Crouch.
Linebacker. What all I'm saying is linebackers move, man. They move around.
We're talking about Kyle Haladay. He is not leaving. We talk about one guy. Look, Kyle
Haladay. That's what we need. Hashtag Kyle Haladay. Put it out there. Spartan Nation, get on him. Don't sit there and wait. Because you're going to miss it when he's gone. Don't wait on it. Don't be, he's never going anywhere. Don't that's the posture that'll get you beat.
I can't wait for Thursday's show.
Oh, I can't either. I can't
wait.
We got a very special guest for Thursday's show.
Hey, listen, we also somebody sent a note. We'll bring Kyle Haladay on this show, but I just need you to know that guy is foundationally built. He ain't jumping.
That's what we're gonna bring him on here and find out.
Yeah,
We're gonna make sure. We're gonna make sure. We're gonna sign the deal with him.
Hey, he ain't job hopping
This is
like
Sparta. Hey, we want. Hey, Cal Halliday and Keon Coleman will be sponsored by This Is Sparta.
Well, don't forget my guy.
Trey Mosley.
Who all your guys?
Like I'm going to come with my list of who's
Choo-choo's list.
Choo-choo's prime time players.
Prime time players. You forgot from the Himalayas.
We're gonna do our part. We're gonna do our part. That's all I'm saying. We're gonna do our part to keep him here. We gotta keep him here.
Before we go, Noah Kim is him.
Oh man, we're going for the backup quarterback.
Hey, I'm gonna let JU have that one himself.
I think he's a great addition.
Jason got his own NIL deal with Noah Kim.
Noah Kim is him.
We love you, Noah.
Man,
and Peyton. You know, let's not
look.
forget
Let's end on a good note here. Like, let's shout out our seniors who stayed the track, kept the journey going. Xavier Henderson, KB came in transfer, but he accepted the culture, stepped in, and that dude was hitting like no other. Let's talk about some other guys. Van Sumeren, who kudos to him going the East versus West run game. Jay Reed, Behringer, all our seniors. Appreciate you, man, for sticking with us, but also playing as best as you could to put us on the map, man. I just want to say, from one former dog, obviously us two as well, all three of us, kudos to y'all, man. And whatever y'all need,
Jacob Slade, whatever y'all need.
Now,
big fellas.
We'll talk about this on Thursday, but some of those guys that were seniors, they still got decisions to make too. So, we just want to say thank you to all you all, man. And whatever you need from the Spartan Dogs,
That's
holler
right,
at us, man. Holler at us.
Whatever you need, we'll be there. We understand what happened with the game, but we're gonna get deep into this. This is gonna be an ongoing topic. We're gonna talk recruiting. We're gonna talk transfer portal. We're gonna talk coaching carousel. All of this stuff coming up on our show Thursday and beyond. And we can't forget about MSU basketball, guys. They balling too. Okay, they balling. So we got to talk to Tom Izzo and the guys over there in the Breslin doing their thing. So we'll give you more of that next time we come up on Thursday at 8 p.m. Until then, everybody have a good night. God bless, and go green.
Go white.